Raghava, Jaya Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari, Jaya Gopi Channa Vallabha, Jaya Giri Baradhari, Jaya Giri Baradhari, Jaya Gopi Channa Vallabha, Jaya Giri Baradhari, Jaya Giri Baradhari, Yashodanandana Prajana Ranjana, Yashodanandana Prajana Ranjana, Yamuna Tira Vanacharya, Tira Vanachari, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Sri Caitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Guru Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Saha Gana Raghunatha Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadvadutam Parijanaha Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Saha Gana Lalita Shri Vishakam Svitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopisha Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gorange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutadevi Pranamami Hare Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna devotees. You don't have to fasten your seat belts today because the body is not going to move. You're just going to be moving with the mind. And we're going back to New Brindavan, West Virginia, and it's going to be the 24th of June 1976, so we're going back quite a number of years. But before I start with that, let's talk a little bit about Gopa Astami, which is today, very auspicious day, and I see the heading here is Gopa Astami as well, so I think I should mention a few things. I'm sure it will be discussed in detail later on, but just to have some idea, this is the day on which Krishna is given full responsibility to tend the cows himself. So this is an auspicious occasion. Krishna loved the cows and played his flute while herding the cows with the gopas. This was Krishna's pastime, and we are celebrating that today. And we also have a great deal of respect for the cows. We revere them as good as our mother because they help in the nourishment of the little ones, don't they? And since they are so closely connected with Krishna, if we have contact with the cows and if we worship the cows, we can get to Krishna. That's an easy way of getting to Krishna, isn't it? Right. So how do they celebrate this occasion? So you get up in the morning and go and clean the stables. I suppose all of you did that this morning, right? If you have cows. If you were in India, then that's what you would have done. You would have gone to the stables, cleaned it out nicely, given the cow a nice wash, and then done arti for the cow, offered the cow a garland, and then also some prasad. Nothing is complete without prasad. So what would they offer? They would offer a special mix of grass, jaggery, and fresh rotis. And then, of course, there would be a feast afterwards as well, right? And apply tilak for the cow on the foreheads, sing bhajans, and also perform arti for the cows. So that's what will be happening in Vrindavan today, I suppose, or in India, most parts of India. And I'm sure it will be an occasion today as well. This will happen at 7 o'clock, I think, when we offer the lamps at that time, then I'm sure it will be much more clearly explained and celebrated. So we're now landing in New Brindavan, West Virginia, and it's the 24th of June, 1976. And let's go to the place where Srila Prabhupada is, because it's Transcendental Diaries about him. Let's see what they have to say. It was a wonderful evening's meeting. Prabhupada's congenial mood and warmth offered many of the devotees a chance to see him in a much more intimate way than they are used to. Most disciples only see him in a very formal setting of the Srimad Bhagavatam class, and a few are fortunate to accompany him on his walks. But circumstances like this, with such free and happy exchanges, draw on hearts and minds of us all, increasing our love and affection for him unlimitedly. So this is where we are now. It's the afternoon, and Prabhupada has they've read to him some of the reviews that he got for the Srimad Bhagavatam, and he's he uses that. He gets one of the devotees, one of the disciples, to read from the Srimad Bhagavatam, and then he elaborates. So let's see, where do we start? So this part is it's in the evening, and it's about the book review. Some new book reviews have come from India, and Srila Prabhupada had me read out aloud what must be best for one so far. What must be the best one so far? So there were many reviews, and Prabhupada wanted the best one to be read out. Signed by Sri R. Subramaniam, the Deputy Director of the Research of the Lok Sabha Secretariat of India's National Parliament, is glorified in the Srimad Bhagavatam, and Srila Prabhupada personally in glowing terms. A strained feature of the modern world that is that in spite of vast advances in science and technology and the establishment of a good number of institutions for human welfare, mankind has not found true peace and happiness. That's true, right? It applies today. We are still looking for peace. We haven't found it yet. Knowledge of material sciences and arts has increased tremendously in recent times, and millions of volumes of each fill the libraries all over the world. People and leaders in every country are generally well versed in these arts and sciences. So many people have educated, right? They have BSc and PhD and I don't know what not, BA. They have all these qualifications. But let's see what Prabhupada says. But despite their efforts, human society everywhere continues to be in turmoil and distress. The reason is not far to seek. It is that they have not learned the science of God, most fundamental for every other art and science, and fail to apply it to the facts of life. The need of the hour is therefore to do it if mankind is not only to survive, but flower into a glorious existence. To teach the science of God to people everywhere and to aid them in their progress and development towards the real goal of life, Srimad Bhagavatam is most eminently fitted. So what is the message for us? That we should try to read Srimad Bhagavatam or hear the Srimad Bhagavatam when others recite it and explain it. In fact, this great ancient work of Vyasa will fill this need in the modern times. For it is a cultural presentation for the re-spiritualization of the entire human society. His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of ISKCON movement, has taken it upon himself, in addition to his ceaseless travels and other multifarious activities in the service of the Lord, the stupendous task of translating this Sanskrit work into English in about 60 volumes for the welfare and happiness of mankind. It is really astonishing how he is able to do this single-handed. And when one comes to think of this apart from the other great literary works, one is tempted to wonder if he is not the same Vyasa Muni reborn today. So this is the review by R. Subramaniam about Srila Prabhupada's Srimad Bhagavatam. So let's see, number 3 is Sri Vyasadeva. So number 3 is a little bit about Sri Vyasadeva. Right. So, after this was read, then one question arises. This brought about unexpectedly elaborate response from Srila Prabhupada. He had Pradyumna bring the Sanskrit edition of the 12th canto and had him read through the long list of predictions for Kali Yuga. So now he's elaborating on the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam, and the question is being asked now, Sri Vyasadeva, did he have the power to know the past, present and future? How was he able to predict what's going to happen in Kali Yuga? And Prabhupada is going to elaborate on all of that. What are some of the symptoms of Kali Yuga? Lawlessness, heavy taxation, lack of justice, reduced mercy, untruthfulness, lack of cleanliness, reduced duration of life and strength. Prabhupada is saying, is it not true? Do we not experience lawlessness? When you are traveling here today, so many people, when I was coming, they can see you oncoming traffic, there's a white line, but they'll still overtake. And they'll expect you to slow down. They'll flash your lights, slow down, I'm overtaking. That's lawlessness, right? So we experience it all the time. How Vyasadeva knew all this is going to happen? 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago, these things never used to happen. If you made such a contravention, there would be someone to pull you over and you'd get a ticket, and you might even have to appear in court. But not today. So that is about heavy taxation. Everyone knows about that, right? Lack of justice. Just think about our water supply and electricity supply. How just is that? When we're supposed to have the facility provided for us in a nice way, without any hiccups and obstacles. Well, for now, for recently it's been okay for about 200 odd days, I think. But before that, every now and then, no electricity, no water, and kinds of things like that. What about reduced mercy? That is very, very common, isn't it? And Prabhupada particularly emphasizes here, besides ruthlessness to animals in terms of killing, what about mothers killing their own children? So that is lack of mercy, reduced mercy, right? Mothers don't kill their children. They look after and they love and they nurture the children. And they do everything they can for the children. But imagine the mothers kill their children. He's talking about abortion. Lack of cleanliness. Lack of cleanliness refers to multifarious affairs. You know, people, it's common these days. They have a wife, they have a mistress, and they have another mistress, and things like that. So that's what it's referring to. And it's common. It's not like it was happening 5,000 years ago. How did Vyasadeva know that all this is going to be happening? And it is happening. We are experiencing it. Reduced duration of life and strength, and so on. Item by item, Prabhupada elucidated on the text, entertaining everyone with sharp observations and witticisms on how all these features have manifested themselves in modern culture. He offered modern examples to show how the prophecy is being fulfilled. Daya, mercifulness. People have no mercy. It has already begun. If somebody is attacked, being killed, nobody takes care. He goes his own way. What to speak of mercy for animals? All right, you are not so advanced. But the mother's mercy to the child, Sri Radha Radhanath ki jai, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Giri Govardhan ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. What to speak of of no mercy for animals? All right, you are not so advanced. But mother's mercy to child will be diminished. We spoke about that, right? He's talking about abortion. This is foretelling. This is called Trikala Jana. Who expected that mother will kill the child? But Vyasadeva, 5,000 years ago, said, yes, mercy will be reduced. Then? So Prabhupada says like that, he ends with a question. So that is what is happening. That's happening. You're seeing it happening then. How can you say that mercy is not being reduced? Vyasadeva knew. Ayur. What does Ayur mean? Ayur is duration of life. The maximum duration of life in Kali Yuga is 100 years. But who is living 100 years? It has been reduced. It will be so reduced that if a man would live 20 years, he is an old man. It will come to that stage. Now it is reducing from 100 years to 90 years to 80 years, 70, then 60, then 50, in this way. If a man lives for 20 or 30 years, he will be considered grand old man. These are the symptoms. Then, again, his prediction is correct. So that is 4. 5 talks about bodily strength. And bodily strength, in India, in our childhood, I have seen when British rule was there, all Europeans were coming very tall, stout and strong. Now such Europeans are not coming. Even bodily strength is reduced. Then, again, he keeps saying then, see, it's happening. Right? Can you argue with that? Can you argue that bodily strength is not reducing? The next one is Vitam, and this one applies to us very every day. We experience this. It's about money. Money is the criterion, not family. Formerly, there was respectable family. Aristocratic family, Brahmana family, Kshatriya family. All these things are gone now. Never mind what you are. It doesn't matter if you're coming from those sophisticated families, right? That is a Kali Yuga symptom, that position in society, if you want to be a respectable man, yet somehow or the other, gather money. Never mind how, get money and you become respectable. Don't you see that? It's not about the prestige of family name or lineage and all of that. No. Not even about what you know. It's about how much of money you have. Jamakara, first of all, Jamna, the family hereditary, was taken into consideration but is now forgotten. Hereditary, right? Heredity. So your lineage, what kind of family, what your parents did, what your grandparents did. This used to be the criterion that was used when they would have marriages, right? Before the marriage would take place, it was, Prabhupada talks about here, we'll read. Get money. Just like in England, the British Empire's policy is that you bring money from outside and deposit in the government treasury and you become a lord. It is not. Bring money some way or the other. So that was going on. Exploiting. They used to do. Go to foreign countries and somehow or the other accumulate money. So, try to understand guna. You are most qualified man. You can be a qualified man, but if you don't have money, you won't be recognized. You won't be respected as much as you should be. But you may be a drunkard, you may be a prostitute hunter, whatever you may be, but because of money, you are qualified. Then, Prabhupada goes to the next one, Abhiruchi. I talked about this. Now, formerly, marriage was a religious ceremony where the father, mother will see the horoscope, and if they are compatible, they will agree. They will live peacefully. So many things are there. Still, in India, such things are calculated by the parents of the boy and the girl. But in this Kali Yuga, Dhampate Abhiruchi means the boy and the girl, if he likes, if he says, that's all. Nothing, the parents have no say in the matter. I like the girl, doesn't matter about family lineage, qualification, all of that is not what is not taken into account. Whether some people believe in the horoscope, so even that is not taken into account. And then Prabhupada says, after 3 days after marriage, there is divorce. Then the devotees laughed at what seemed to be a deliberate exaggeration by Srila Prabhupada to emphasize his point. But he remained serious. I like, I don't like, that's all. Now I like, and after 3 days, I don't like, finished business. In Chicago, I saw a newspaper. One girl, within 3 weeks, she has divorced 2 husbands. Now everyone laughed again, but this time at the ludicrousness of modern people. The next prediction that Prabhupada emphasizes is about Brahmana. Viprate Shrutam Evahi. And there is Brahmana. What is the proof that he is Brahmana? So, our understanding is that if you're a Brahmana, you should behave like a Brahmana. You will have the Brahmanical qualities. But these days, it is easy to become a Brahmana. Or you can go, even if you go to the gift shop, they can sell you the Brahman thread. You can put it and show everybody, see, I got my Brahman thread, I'm Brahman. But you are not qualified. Prabhupada, He has got a sacred thread, that's all. Oath or thread, it may not be sacred, purchased on the market. So at least we try to give a sacred thread by ceremony. But anyone can purchase a thread from the market, 2 paisa worth or 1 cent worth, and become a Brahmana. You are a Brahmana? Yes. You see my thread? He chuckled at the rascaldom. Finished. What are you doing? Never mind. Then he added a serious note. Don't be such Brahmanas. At least in our camp, you must follow the rules and regulations. Don't show that I am now doubly initiated, sacred thread. Don't cheat in that way. Number 10, he talks about, I'm summarizing, this is quite a long chapter, I'm just taking the main points. Pandita, if you can speak vehemently any subject matter, people may not understand, but they will certify. It says he can speak. Oh, this man is very learned. What have you learned from him? Oh, I could not understand. But he spoke very nicely. He spoke very nicely. What is that nicely? The Chapala. Prabhupada threw a rapid string of gibberish, like that. They just heard the words, but they didn't understand anything. Then he laughed along with the devotees. You go on speaking like that and people will appreciate. Oh, that he is a big speaker. Then he refers to the poor. On the next item he described the plight of the poor. When the poor man comes, you will not give place. If he wants to stay, you will refuse. No. Because he is poor, he is immediately accepted as dishonest. He may be honest or dishonest, but poverty is a sign for accepting a man as dishonest. Then, so everybody gets classed as dishonest. We don't blame people for being that way, but we shouldn't be because of the way things are. You know, even a well-dressed person can come and he can come to scam you as well. Tirtham. Number 12, yes. Places of pilgrimage. Just like there is Vrindavan, and here is New Vrindavan. So he's talking about where we are now. That's New Vrindavan, and Vrindavan is the Vrindavan in India, near Delhi. But if you spend $10,000 and go to Vrindavan, then it is pilgrimage. But it is pilgrimage to come to the temple even. Because wherever Krishna is, that is Vrindavan. And here it is Vrindavan Chandra. So that is not very important. Durya Varya Ayanam. You have to go far, far away. Then it will be pilgrimage. And yet, you don't have to spend so much of money to go to India. I mean, you can, if you can afford it, why not? It is something that you can do, but it's not necessarily effective. It is just as effective if you come to a place where Krishna is. Like the devotees are here, artis are going on, offerings are going on, classes are being held here, just like it is in Vrindavan. So there should be no difference, Prabhupada is saying. In India, there is Ganges in Calcutta. Right? The Ganges is passing through Calcutta as well. But they go Hardwar, then it is pilgrimage. Then only they consider it to be pilgrimage, because Hardwar is far away, but it's also going through Calcutta. The same Ganges coming from Hardwar, but they want to go meet it in, they want to bathe in Hardwar. Doesn't make sense. Then, so number 13 is about long hair. Lavanyam. Now you know very well in the Western country Beauty increases by having long hair. Now see how it is current. Who expected that this foretelling is there in the Bhagavatam? To increase beauty, have long hair. Is it not? Just see how 5,000 years this thing was foretold. That is the proof. He grinned at us and declared. There was no hippie movement then, but Vyasadeva foretold that in Kali Yuga, if one keeps long hair, he will think himself as very beautiful. 14, about food. Then he gave a roundup of the future of this age. Ultimately, with the advancement of Kali Yuga, you will have no food. Food means there will be no food grains. There will be no milk, no sugar like that, no fruits. If you get fruit, there will be no pulp. It is simply seeds. These things are there. If you get mango, but a mango means simply a big seed, that's all. So how can you check it? If nature's way, things are going to happen like that, what scientists will do? If there is no rice, no wheat, will the scientists, question mark there. They can say replace with a pill, but they cannot produce wheat or rice or dal or milk or sugar. That is not possible. So this one, I don't know whether I should read this. I don't want to spoil your appetite. This is Humana Maharaj interjected with that scientists have fashioned a way for these spacemen to drink their own urine and eat their own stool. Yes, that is the most scientific improvement Srila Prabhupada announced cuttingly. Yes, that they can do by scientific improvement. They can drink their own urine, very tasty. Number 15, disqualifications. One of the devotees wanted to know how the general mass of people could take to Krishna consciousness in the face of all these disqualifications. There are so many obstacles. So how is it going to be possible for people to take to Krishna consciousness? Maintaining his good humor, Srila Prabhupada replied that Krishna consciousness is the only remedy. In this Kali Yuga, Sri Sri Radha Radhanath Ki Jai. In this Kali Yuga, it is an ocean of faults. How? Suppose all over your body there are boils. So where will you apply ointment? You just dip down. It was a wonderful evening's meeting. Prabhupada's congenial mood and warmth offered many of the devotees a chance to see him in a much more intimate way than they are used to. Most disciples only see him in a very formal setting. So that is what Prabhupada had to say about the predictions of Vyasadeva. Now there were other points raised as well. This is called Transcendental Diaries. So number 17. Right, some of the questions, some of the subjects that were discussed, that were the different disciples had written to Srila Prabhupada and wanted answers to certain things. The first one was Chayavyana Swami, who was so disturbed when we saw him in Delhi last March. So I'm referring to this one because we can also become disturbed. And what is the solution? He was in Delhi, but now he's living in the Chicago temple, the Swami. He wrote a letter expressing deep regret for his past inability to strictly follow the regulative principles. We might have that problem as well, but if we chant and if we try, if we are determined, then we can succeed. And he pleaded for Prabhupada's mercy. And with Prabhupada's mercy, we can also plead for Prabhupada's mercy to save him from further attacks of Maya. He requested some service, declaring he was prepared to do anything to atone for his fall downs. So that's the answer to our question. If we find difficulties, then we have to chant first of all, and secondly, we must engage in some kind of devotional service. When we are engaged in devotional service, then automatically our mind will be taken off our problems. We will concentrate more on the Lord, and in that way we can advance. Vegavan Dasa, president of the Stockholm Center, sent a brief one-page report. He informed Prabhupada that Bhagavad Gita is translated into Swedish and is now being checked by 2 professional translators before being typeset. He said many schools are eagerly awaiting its publication so that they can use it as the text in their courses. And they have already received many orders. So at the end of Kartik, it's going to be book marathon time. So books are important. We have to get it out there. We have to distribute it out there. And now all the work is done. The Bhagavad Gita has been translated into so many different languages. At this point they were translating it to Swedish. And all we have to do is to endeavor to try and distribute it. Why will we just try to distribute books? Because we don't want to be selfish. Devotees are supposed to be selfless. So we know the benefits of being a devotee, of following the regulative principles of chanting and of doing devotional service. So having that knowledge and having experienced happiness and evaded suffering, then why should we not tell others about our good fortune? So that is the reason for distributing books. And that is why we will endeavor as much as possible in whatever way we can to try and distribute this knowledge to everyone that we encounter, because that was Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission. So, then a question was asked about finance. Yes, from Vrindavan, India, Akshayananda Swami reported some promising developments. His traveling party had collected 25,000 rupees during the month of May. With the donations given at the temple, they are now self-sufficient. He also gave a good account of the temple activities. At least 1,000 people visit daily, and from books and prasadam sales, they raise 350 rupees per day. Akshayananda Maharaj praised Hai Haya's efforts at the temple as the temple manager. His letter had an upbeat tone. Now that so many people are coming, we must now attract them to stay with us in the guest house. That is something that we also try to practice. When guests come, we we welcome them, we make them feel comfortable, and if we do that, then our congregation will grow. If the congregation grows, then there might be more income, and that means better service to Krishna. That was something else that I can't see the time. Do you know what the time is? Oh, okay. So the next one is about there are obstacles. We will encounter obstacles. In trying to execute this devotional service, there will be obstacles as they encountered in those days as well. Gopal Krishna Prabhu sent a lengthy letter reporting on various happenings in India. He also gave a few details about his trip to Eastern Europe. I went to East Berlin for 2 days. The border police caught me with the books, but I, after a 1-hour debate, was allowed to take the books to East Berlin. So, we may encounter difficulties like that as well. Certain places, like in the malls and all of that, we're not allowed to distribute books, but we try to circumvent the problem, and we find other ways of doing it. So that happened at that time, and this particular Swami, Gopala Krishna Prabhu, he, after 1 hour debate, so he was debating with the police. I don't know whether we can debate with the police these days, if they would even understand what we're saying, but still, we have to try. So we find that there is mention of libraries as well, and I know that it's happening at this temple as well. Books are being placed at universities and even bookshops. I know at the airport, if there's one section there, if you go, you'll find Srila Prabhupada's books. So that is because of the endeavor of the devotees, of the resident devotees at the temple. Then he discusses, there's a letter, there's disturbing news, the news clipping about the activities of an organization in Delhi. Yesterday, so this is what they're reporting to Prabhupada, there is disturbing news clipping about the activities of an organization in Delhi. Yesterday I read in the papers that the Indian Council for Cultural Research is agreeing to American requests to certifying which yogis are bona fide and which are not, so that American public does not get bluffed by so many bogus yogis. Excuse me. So in Bhagavad Gita we read about all the different kinds of yogis, and when we make a study of that, a comparative study, we realize that the topmost is, the simplest is performing Bhakti Yoga. However, the secretary said, this will not discourage bogus people like Bal, Yogi, Guru Maharaj, the Transcendental Meditation, Maharishi Yogi, and the Hare Krishna culturalist. So because they included Hare Krishna in that, so they, we are not we are not like them. We are different. So that is where the disturbing news is about, that we have been included in those category of yogis who are misleading the American public. But of course that doesn't apply. It no more applies, because people are aware of, if they read and we're giving out knowledge, so they know that this is something that is bona fide. Now I'm going to meet the secretary of this organization, Mrs. Kochar, in Delhi. They obviously don't know the difference between day and night, or genuine and false. So he's referring to the different kinds of yoga. Some are genuine and some are false. Then we always have, this can't be evaded. There's always discussion on temple management. Regarding New Delhi, his report centered on Tejas Prabhu. Gopal said he personally had no difficulty with Tejas, and the new temple is going well. The problem is that no devotee will stay in Delhi for any period of time because he is too difficult to get along with. So that is a difficulty. If the temple management or the temple president is difficult to get along with, then people just won't stay. That is something that has to be addressed. It may be already addressed in most temples, and the problem may not exist. But if it exists, it did exist at that time, and it was resolved. Gopal has therefore put a Bengali devotee who was educated in Germany, Sarva Bhavana Dasa, in charge of the daily management. So what they did was they just changed the management. From Tejas they appointed Gopala. Sarva Bhavana Dasa in charge of daily management. Tejas is remaining as a figurehead temple president, and Gopala has asked him to concentrate on collecting funds with minimal interaction with the other devotees. So Prabhupada solved the problem very easily. He said, okay, you still temple president, but we'll put Sarva Bhavana Dasa in charge of daily management, because he has a better communication skills and a better relationship with the devotees. And you are still president, but you concentrate on collecting funds and have minimal interaction with the other devotees. So there are many other discussions that took place. Some of it is about, let's see, book exchange. One difficulty was that, I think we discussed this the last time as well, something that the devotees did and Prabhupada did not approve, was that people, like in Russia, they didn't have money. The books were there, but they couldn't pay for it in cash. So they said, what if you take some of our books and it will be like an exchange? But those books are of no value. Prabhupada says, no, we don't want that. Your nonsense. We don't understand your nonsense. So he disapproved of that. But at some point, that did happen, where if the books were saleable, then they were brought to India and sold there and then converted to cash. But the country that did not have cash, they gave books in exchange that were saleable in India. So Prabhupada therefore informed Gopala how he could ensure a good standard of new recruits. So, qualification of the devotee. Concerning the new Bhakta program, this is the criterion. Unless one is educated and one has got a good cultural background, then only can he be accepted. Because if you don't have that understanding, if you cannot understand the books properly, if you cannot comprehend what people are saying, and if you don't have a cultural background, you don't have those kind of qualities to respect others and to hear, then you may not be a good devotee. So he said, let's make it like that. That was the minimum qualification, good education and cultural background. Yeah, so any questions, or does anyone like to add something to this, to your adventures, to that while we've been traveling, while we have been in New Vrindavan and while we've been interacting with Srila Prabhupada and his explanation on how Vyasadeva could see the future and the predictions. Any comment, any questions? I may not be able to answer, but there are some very well-read devotees here that can answer. Yes, Prabhu?
I just joined Krishna Council a couple of years ago because of life turmoils and couldn't find a solution to my life. So someone told me to come to Krishna Conscious. So I came, a devotee told me to come to Krishna Conscious. So I came to Krishna Conscious, hoping that life will change. I know I learned a lot that we're not this body, we're the soul, leave everything to Krishna and everything will come peaceful in life. But I noticed recently that the more that more that I'm chanting, more that I'm praying to the Lord, there's more obstacles and problems coming in my life. Why is that? I don't get why is that happening?
This is an age-old question. Does anyone want to answer that? Vidyapati Prabhu, you want to answer? I see you got your hand up.
Hare Krishna. So Prabhu, if you start chanting, your problems don't dissipate immediately. It will take some time, because remember now, what you're experiencing now may not be the result of this birth. It could be from your previous birth, many births, generations in the past, and now you're experiencing your karma is playing out now. But if you was here a little bit earlier, Prabhu was alluding to the fact that these obstacles will come along. Even the other devotees, senior devotees that are sitting here or in the temple as well, they also experience challenges on a regular basis. Challenges that sometimes could be great, it could be like bodily, diseases, health issues, financial issues, so many issues. But we also, everybody else also goes through this, and it includes also the devotees. But if you know that this process is the best process, and if you stick on the course of this process, slowly you will find that your problems start to dissipate and becomes less and less as we go along. So the example is given, like if you were supposed to lose, I can see you've got physical challenges, but instead of losing both your legs, you've just lost one of your legs. So, there's a very crude example that I'm using, but we have to understand that time, place and circumstance, we have to go through this process in order to minimize the reactions that we would have normally got if we weren't a devotee. I don't know if I've explained it, but I tried. Anyway, Prabhu, you want to? So Prabhu was saying Mother Kunti also went through all these calamities. There's so many examples of exalted devotees. Prahlad Maharaj went through so much of austerities because he wanted to please the Lord, but still there were so many challenges. So we have to accept it, and we have to realize that we are on the course that where these things will minimize as we go along. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. This Prabhu explained very nicely that when we chant, when we are performing devotional service, it has to be done in the mood where you do it in the way that the Lord wants. This is explained in Nectar of Devotion. Anya bilasita sunyam jana karmadi anavritam anu kalena krishnanu silanam bhakti uttama. That means you perform your service in the way that Krishna wants, not the way you want. So in other words, not for your pleasure, for the pleasure of the Lord. And this is the important part, without the expectation of a return. So whatever your circumstances are, whatever our circumstances are, as Prabhu was saying, this is the best process. This is the only, we've experienced all the other processes. We've been through it many lifetimes ago, maybe even in this lifetime, and we are now seated here because we have an understanding that this is the easiest and the best way out. So we shouldn't get despondent if we find that we are still reaping results from previous lifetimes. Understand that it will pass. Everything is temporary. Nothing is permanent except in the spiritual world. So even if you are going through difficulties, even if you have money challenges, even if you have physical challenges, how long can it last? Who lives forever? It's not going to last forever. Everything comes to an end. So we have to have that in mind, and that for today I'll do the best I can. Tomorrow, leave it to Krishna. I have done the best that I can do. Why should I take Krishna's place? Why should I try to act like Krishna? Krishna knows what he's up to. It's his problem. I have now surrendered unto him. He has to solve this problem of mine. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to do what I'm supposed to do. That is, follow the regulative principles. I'm going to chant as best I can and as many rounds as I can, and I'm going to engage in devotional service. After that, that is my allocation. That is my, as a human being, this is what I'm expected to do, and I'm doing that. What happens after that, Krishna? You decide. It's not my problem. So we have to have that faith and that trust that Krishna will alleviate. Well, he may not alleviate. If we are not deserving of mercy, we will not get mercy. We have to become worthy of mercy. We have to be deserving of that mercy. And the only way to do that is, like we read earlier on, that Prabhu, he asked help from Prabhupada. He said, Prabhupada, please bless me that I can now avoid the difficulties that I experienced earlier, that I can chant continuously and constantly, and that I can engage in devotional service. And he asked for devotional service, according to your capacity, of course. Sometimes we may not be able to do things that other people can do, but there are some things that we can do, and devotional service means even chanting. Who cannot chant? Even a child can chant. There are different grades of devotional service. That is the basic one. From that, all other types of devotional service come, and according to your capacity, you can engage in that. But let's just have this faith in chanting the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. How difficult is that? And we have in our mind, Krishna, you the boss, you know what's best. I am just going to accept whatever you give out, whatever you mete out to me. Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. For myself, I see the closer you get to the Lord, to Krishna, the more trials and tribulations you get in your life. But the important thing is to surrender. Dedicate whatever you're going through, dedicate to the Lord, because the test in our life. It's a test. We have to pass this test, because we don't know in our past life what, these are all karmic consequences. We don't know what we have done. And because we got this human birth now, we can only put right our karma but in this human birth. And then we can work on it. But the important thing is, don't lose faith. Continue with your chanting. And as the Lord says, Bhagavan Shri Krishna says, that in the Kali Yuga, the best way to achieve liberation is to do Nam Smaran. Nam Smaran, Sankirtan is the easiest way. And we can get liberated with this.
Thank you for that, Mataji. I like that point that you raised, that we are very, very fortunate. We may not realize it. But what if you had gotten the body of a cockroach or a spider or a dog or a cat? We got the human form, the topmost form. Maybe we have some impediments as far as our physical body is concerned. But we still got our intelligence, we got our thinking capacity, we've got our understanding. What more do we want? And that is the qualification to transcend from this suffering condition to the spiritual world where there's eternal joy and bliss. This human form is the tool. That is so much to be thankful. That is such a big blessing. What would we do if we didn't have this human form? Anybody else? Okay. So if there's no more questions, breakfast time now. So we don't want to miss that. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.